There's a specific kind of silence that only shows up when you're trying to forget someone. But your mind refuses to cooperate. You keep yourself busy. You distract yourself. You repeat the same thought. It's over. I should be fine by now. But then it happens. A song plays. A memory slips in. A quiet moment catches you off guard. And suddenly they're back in your mind like they never left. And then a question appears, one that feels unsettling. Why can't I let go, even when I want to? Psychology actually has an answer for that. And no, it doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're desperate. And it definitely doesn't mean you're broken. It means something deeper happened, something your conscious mind tried to move on from, but your subconscious never fully processed. So let's understand what's really going on, why your mind keeps holding on, what it's actually attached to, and how understanding this can finally bring you peace. Because sometimes you're not missing the person. You're missing what they represented. Let's start there. Your brain is still chasing emotional closure. When you can't let go of someone, it's rarely just about love. It's about unfinished emotional business. Your brain hates incomplete stories. In psychology, this is called the need for closure. And when closure is missing, your mind keeps looping the same memories, trying to rewrite the ending. Maybe they left without explaining. Maybe things ended too suddenly. Maybe you never said what you truly felt. Or maybe you said everything and still didn't feel understood. So your mind fills in the gaps. You replay conversations. You imagine different outcomes. You think about what you could have done differently. This isn't obsession. It's your mind trying to resolve pain. Your emotional system doesn't move on until it understands two things: why it mattered and why it ended. That's why time alone doesn't heal everything. Time without understanding just creates repetition. And the longer closure is missing, the longer the attachment stays alive, even when the person is gone. Here's the truth. You're not stuck on them. You're stuck on the questions they left behind. And once you understand that, something shifts. You stop blaming yourself, and you start healing the right way. Now let's go deeper. Your nervous system still feels safe with them. Letting go isn't just a decision, it's biological. Your nervous system doesn't care about logic. It doesn't follow timelines. It doesn't listen to promises you make to yourself. It remembers one thing: who felt familiar. Maybe that person wasn't perfect. Maybe they hurt you. Maybe they couldn't love you the way you deserved. But at some point, your body learned them. It learned their presence, their voice, their patterns. Even if that safety was inconsistent, your nervous system still recognized it. That's why you can miss someone who caused you pain. That's why moving on feels uncomfortable, even when staying hurt. Your body connected them to emotional regulation, to comfort after stress, to calm after chaos. So when they're gone, your system feels unsettled, not because they were perfect, but because your body hasn't learned a new version of safety yet. This is why forcing yourself to move on often backfires. Healing isn't about forgetting them. It's about teaching your body that peace can exist without them. Once your nervous system feels safe again, your mind follows. And sometimes the hardest part isn't losing them. It's losing who you were with them. Think about it. Who were you when you loved them? Maybe you were more open, more expressive, more hopeful. Maybe you felt seen in a way you hadn't before. So when the relationship ends, you don't just lose a person, you lose a version of yourself. And your mind keeps reaching back, not because the relationship was perfect, but because you felt more alive in it. That's why reminders hurt so deeply, not because they point to them, but because they point to you, the version of you who believed, who risked, who imagined a future. Letting go means grieving that version of yourself, and most people skip that step. That's why the attachment stays. Healing begins when you allow yourself to grow into someone new, without resenting the version of you who believed in love. There's another layer to this. Your brain can become attached to emotional intensity. Not all attachments are calm. Some are chaotic, unpredictable, and intense. Psychology calls this intermittent reinforcement. It's the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive. When love is consistent, your system feels stable. But when love is unpredictable, sometimes present, sometimes withdrawn, your brain becomes hooked. You start chasing the highs. The good moments feel incredible. The bad moments feel unbearable. And that contrast creates a loop. Hope, then anxiety, relief, then uncertainty. Your brain starts associating that person not with safety, but with intensity. So when it ends, you don't just miss them. You miss the feeling, the anticipation, the emotional rush. This is why you can miss someone who made you feel unstable. Your brain confuses intensity with importance. Letting go, in this case, is like detoxing. Not from love, but from emotional chaos. And detoxing feels uncomfortable at first. But once the highs and lows settle, something powerful happens. Clarity. And that clarity often reveals that what felt like love was actually survival mode. Finally, there's one more reason you can't let go. You're still searching for meaning. When something leaves a deep emotional impact, your mind doesn't want it to be meaningless. So it keeps asking, why did this happen? What was I supposed to learn? What does this say about me? Humans struggle with pain that has no purpose, so your mind holds on, trying to extract meaning big enough to justify the hurt. This is why you're still thinking about it. Not because you want them back, but because you haven't fully understood what the experience gave you. Once you do, once you see what it taught you about your needs, your boundaries, your patterns, something shifts. The grip loosens. Letting go isn't forgetting. It's understanding deeply enough that your mind no longer needs to revisit the pain. And eventually, something quiet happens inside you. Your nervous system feels safe again, your identity expands beyond the past, and confusion turns into clarity. And when that happens, your heart doesn't have to force itself to let go. It simply opens its hand.